Once you get started, it's like easy to keep going.
Yeah, it's like.
If you get serious, and then you're like, wait, you can't joke around.
Oh my god.
Are you here for the song?
I took an interview with them.
Are you actually? Oh, yeah, okay.
Okay, today in America, there's a lot of problems with the minimum wage, and people who are working on the minimum wage can't feed their families or even survive on the wages we have today. I know that there's a lot of different issues. People have a lot of split decisions on it. It's a really hot button topic today in America. But when it comes to the minimum wage, I think there's a lot of ways that we should raise it, and I think that if we did raise it, it would be a lot beneficial to America. It's not only for families who are on the minimum wage, because for them, they can't feed their families, they're below the poverty line, but it's also a big issue for businesses too, because to put money in the pockets of people in the middle class would be great for businesses. And the minimum wage just really should be raised for a lot of different ways, which I'm going to prove to you today in the speech. What if you worked over 40 hours a week and still couldn't feed your family of 3? That's the sad reality of many humans working in the minimum wage today. So if you're working in a 2-person family, so let's say a single parent and a kid, and we've got one full-time worker working 40 hours a week, 70% of those people are below the poverty line. And this is a widespread issue. So of the people who work full-time, 23% of them are below the line. And this isn't just an issue for people, it's widespread across America, just because, again, the businesses are not profiting from what's happening. Franklin Roosevelt said in his statement on the National Recovery Act, and this was right after the Great Recession, he said that by giving money to people receiving these wages would access the richest market which the world has known. So basically the middle class is the most people, and to give them money and put money in their pockets would just help a lot of people. Even people above the poverty line, you'd think, if they're not below it, why raise the minimum wage? It's not going to help. People above the poverty line would then have more disposable income to spend in businesses and give businesses more money. So with the wage where it is now, we see families in poverty, less purchasing power, and just a huge issue among the middle class and overall dissatisfaction with the current wage. Why haven't we done anything about it? That's because the nation is split. So we've got half the nation saying that they want to raise the minimum wage and the other half saying that they don't want to. So there's a lot of issues with that. People don't want the national wage to change because they say that small businesses can't afford it. Actually, they took a poll and 3 out of 5 business owners voted to raise the minimum wage just because of what they said. If you put money into the pocket of someone who has to spend it, then they're going to spend it, their businesses, and they're going to make more money. The difference between someone who's in the middle class having money in their pocket is that when they have money in their pocket, they have to spend it. Someone who's in the upper class has money, it just kind of sits there. It's not disposable income, it's extra. When someone in the middle class has money, they end up spending it and they need it. Another argument is that loss of jobs. So people think if you have to pay people more money, owners are going to fire people to make up for the money lost. But more than 600 economists, including 7 Nobel Prize winners, wrote to the White House and said, the weight of the evidence now showing the increase in the minimum wage has little or no effect on the employment of minimum wage workers, even during times of weakness. So I get what people are saying when they say, if you have to pay people more, they're just going to fire people to make up for the loss. But actually, the economic proof does not show that happening. It makes sense in theory, but actually when they do studies, it's not true. And then the biggest concern is restaurant industry, because they're the one that has minimum wage. So the biggest concern is the restaurant industry, because they're the one who most pays people minimum wage. But actually, tipped workers got paid full wage in May of 2015 in San Francisco, and immediately after that, they saw positive job growth in restaurant industry following. So I know that people think that restaurant industries are going to fail due to this, but it actually shows the opposite effect, and it keeps growing. Keeping wages is not going to solve the problem because it's only worsening with years, and that's just due to inflation. So the more inflation that they have, and the more money that things are being cost, the more the wages need to compensate for that. And inflation's getting worse and worse over the years, so they actually need to be paying people more, and they haven't changed the wage in a few years. If things cost more money, people need more money. It's simple as that. So now that we know the problems, we need to start working on the solution. And the only solution is to raise the national minimum wage above the poverty line. So that would be putting more money in people's pockets, which then puts more money into the businesses' pockets and booms the businesses. I think that if they do it, you have to do it gradual, not to shock the businesses, because if you did it right away and made national minimum wage, it would just shock the businesses and they wouldn't have time to compensate. So I think raising it slowly and having it get up to $15 by 2020 would be the best thing. I think it's just practical to give them time with dates that were clearly set out so people have time to adjust to it. President Obama, in his State of the Union address, said in 2015, "Of course nothing helps families make ends meet like higher wages. And to everyone in this Congress who still refuses to raise the minimum wage, I say this. If you truly believe you could work full-time and support a family in less than $15,000 a year, go try it. If not, vote to give millions of the hardest working people in America a raise." It's desirable to people to raise this, like not only to them, because families below the poverty line obviously want this, but like I said, to the businesses. It really shows when you put it in the market that their businesses boom, have more money in their pockets. Besides that, just on a sentimental note, it's hurting families everywhere. If you're a single mother of one, you're working full-time and can't support your child, that's just not fair. It's really blocking businesses from reaching their full market, so the middle class is like the full market of America. It's the biggest group of people, and by raising the minimum wage, you're putting money in their pockets, and it's just really going to help anyone. And then in more ways than one, America would just benefit if we raise the minimum wage, and it'd be great.
That was so good, Sammy. I'm literally so sorry. I wish